Hi, and thank you for joining me once again with another fragrance video. In this video we're going to do something that I've not done previously. Now, I've been making fragrance videos on YouTube for about 3.5 years. Been watching fragrance videos on YouTube for probably 7 or 8 years. And one of the most popular trends in this community is most complimented fragrance videos. Now, the reason why I've not done them previously, the reason why I've shied away from them is, being perfectly honest, I find them in the most part to be completely disingenuous. There are some reviewers out there, who I'm not going to name, who produce these kind of videos because they know they're popular, and they'll talk about fragrances as if they're some magic potion. You know, there's fragrance that you're going to spray it on your neck, women are going to fall at your feet. And in reality, that's not true. Whilst fragrances are very nice, and whilst a fragrance can make you more attractive, they're not a silver bullet for attractiveness. Things such as being in shape, speaking well, having good attitude, dressing well, all of those things are far, far more important than a fragrance. A fragrance helps. It's not the be-all and end-all, though. If you have half your teeth missing and dress like you've won a trolley dash in Sports Direct, you ain't going to be attractive no matter what fragrance you wear. That's just a fact. You know, if you're a slob who doesn't take care of themselves but actually smells of a really good fragrance, that fragrance isn't doing nothing for you. It just makes you a nice smelling slob. It doesn't increase your attractiveness. Fragrances in themselves, as I say, are not the be all and end all for attractiveness. Those other factors, confidence, being in shape, dressing well, they are far, far more important than fragrances. I've seen a reviewer say that a good fragrance can boost your attractiveness by 20%. Now, I don't know where they've got that figure from, how they would possibly quantify such a claim. Don't think there's been any clinical studies on that. I think it's just them exaggerating. And that's why I've stayed away from most complimented fragrances videos, because they're generally full of hyperbole, not really full of any real sort of facts. And the fact is, like I say, the fragrances help. They're not the be all and end all. And actually, when it comes down to most complimented, a lot of the reviewers will make it sound as if they sprayed this fragrance on, they went outside, and every woman that went anywhere near them swooned at their fragrance. That's not true. In actual fact, when it comes to compliments, most of the compliments you will get will come from people close to you. That's girlfriends, wives, you know, occasionally work colleagues. People aren't going to come up to you in the street, or very rarely, because they have had it happen to me once. Very rarely will somebody come up to you in the street randomly and just tell you how great you smell, because most people, when it comes down to it, have got busy lives and don't really care. But anyway, without further ado, we're going to go on to my top 5 most complimented fragrances. Getting tongue twisted there. Just to point out as well that some of the fragrances here are a little bit obvious, but also not. So they're quite a well-known fragrances, but don't get a lot of love in the community necessarily, not necessarily always appear on these kind of lists, but they are damn effective, and that's where we start with this bad boy in front of you, which is nearly empty now. It's Invictus from Paco Rabanne. I think everyone's smelt this, and there's been a number of flankers, some hit and miss. It's a very common fragrance. You could argue it's a little bit douchey, but it is effective. You know, my current girlfriend, if I wear this, she will always compliment me on how great I smell. My previous girlfriend was the same when I used to wear a previous bottle of this. And this is a fragrance where I have had the odd compliment from random people in a work setting and things like that. So this really does work. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of this. I do think it's a bit played out. It's been done to death, and obviously it's been around for a long time. But it's been around for a long time, and it continues to sell because it does what it needs to do. It's effective, it's pleasant, it's nice, people like it. And that's why it continues to sell in its droves, and why Paco Rabanne continue to market in the way they do. Anyway, moving swiftly on, so we'll just push this over to one side. We're going to move on to a fragrance which is more of a nighttime fragrance. It's the one that I now wear mainly when I go out on the town. Not that you can do that very much these days because of coronavirus, but when I get the opportunity, I tend to now wear this bad boy, which is, as you can see, Spicebomb Extreme from Victor and Rolf. I'm just going to turn down the lighting a little bit, it looks a bit bright there. Now what can I say about this? Now, as I say, it's a nighttime fragrance, it's a very going out fragrance. I think this is quite classy, although it is obviously spicy as the name would suggest, and it is a flanker to the original Spicebomb. Again, I can't really put my finger on why this works, but it does. It's an awesome compliment getter if you're in a more formal setting. When I say formal, I don't mean sort of going to dinner and wearing a suit kind of setting. This is more for me I wouldn't say clubbing fragrance, but certainly going out for drinks I would wear this kind of fragrance, and I say it ticks all the boxes that it needs to. Again, shove that up there. This next one is really obvious, and I don't even like this next fragrance. But just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's not effective. It doesn't mean it doesn't do the job. It doesn't mean it doesn't get compliments. It's Dior Savage. I mean, everybody knows this. This is probably the biggest selling fragrance of the last 5 years. It was released in 2015. I'm not sure if Johnny Depp's recent court battles will in any way hinder its image. For me, this fragrance smells quite medicinal. It's very chemically. It's one of those fragrances I smell it and think, well, I shouldn't really like that, and I kind of only begrudgingly do. But if you wear this, people like it. I mean, it's done to death. You go out in town these days, you will smell a lot of people wearing this. I mean, every second dude going seems to be rocking it. So if you want to smell different, this is not the fragrance for you. But the reason why it's popular is because, again, people like it. It smells good to people. I can't necessarily fathom why, but that's the position with it. Moving on to number 4. I may have to zoom out in a few minutes just to get them all in the screen. But the 4th one is actually my favourite fragrance of the last 5 years. The one that I wear wherever possible in all settings. In fact, this bottle I've got is now empty. I need to buy a new one. It's only a small bottle as well. It's 14ml. This would be my number 1 fragrance of the last few years. But it's not necessarily the most complimented, although it is an excellent compliment getter, which is why it's on this list. It's Acqua di Gio Profumo from the house of Giorgio Armani. Again, a very obvious fragrance. I wouldn't say it's a particularly common fragrance though, because while I smell Savage everywhere, I don't really smell this on many people at all. People in the fragrance community do love it though, and when you do wear it, it is a surefire compliment getter. And then lastly, but not leastly, this one will surprise you because this fragrance has been out forever. This fragrance was released back in 1998, would you believe? Still marketed, still sold today. Has been through a couple of, just going to have a quick sniff of it, has been through a couple of reformulations, I believe, but I still like it. There is an intense version and a newer version just come out, but the original version, weirdly, still gets compliments. If I had a criticism, I'd say it's bordering on a bit of sort of middle-aged man now, but because it's been out so long, you do occasionally smell people in the 40s wearing this. But I think this is good for any age, and whenever I wear this, I get compliments from my girlfriend, from random people, from my ex used to give me compliments with this, and it's not even that expensive a fragrance. It's Boss bottled. Surprising, I know, but as I say, this just weirdly does the job. It smells of apple, has a sort of light hint of spiciness, not much. It's mainly it's quite a sort of tart, fruity fragrance. I do think it is quite classy, and it can be worn in majority of settings. And for some reason, women just seem to love it. Again, it's one of those things where its success I can't really put my finger on, but certainly does the job when it comes to getting compliments. I think longevity is maybe not what it used to be, but it's still very, very solid. Anyway, that is my 5 fragrances that are my most complimented. Now, like I say, I wouldn't read too much into the success of these fragrances. These are fragrances that get compliments, as in people say, "Ooh, you smell nice, that's very, very good, what are you wearing?" It's not where they're going to start trying to rip your clothes off, as some YouTubers would try and have you believe. But anyway, thank you for tuning in. Do check out my other videos. I will endeavour to try and do more, although I say that every time, and then months seem to slip by without producing any videos at all. So I do appreciate everybody who sticks with me, everybody who continues to tune into my channel. Please continue to do so, and thank you for watching this video. Thank you.